Hey guys, so today I have some personal life updates to share and I thought we could do it get ready with me style. I have some really exciting news that I've been anxiously waiting to share with you guys, so really excited to get into that. And also for the makeup look today, I have a couple of new goodies that I'm excited to play with. First up, I have this new Urban Decay Naked Sin palette. It's from their new mini Naked series. I haven't heard much buzz about these, but they recently came out with a few new mini palettes, and I received the Sin one in PR. Looks like a really cute rosy palette, kind of gives me like mini Naked 3 vibes. So I am gonna use that on my eyes. And then I also mentioned recently that I picked up the Bite lip crayon in the shade Stinger because they're having a big closeout sale, they're going out of business. So I picked up Stinger, it had been on my wish list for a long time. So I'm gonna wear that today as well. So let's go ahead and hop into the look. So I mentioned in my recent favorites video that I've been loving wearing a matte sunscreen underneath a glowy foundation. So I'm wearing my Paula's Choice Super Light Daily Wrinkle Defense on the face. I'm kind of trying to use that up. And today I thought I would wear the Urban Decay Stay Naked Hydramaniac on top of that. I've also really been loving the Ilia Skin Tint over a matte sunscreen, but I feel like I haven't worn this foundation in a while. So I just wanted to pull this back out and use it. So, big news. I've mentioned in a few videos that we are moving. Haven't mentioned where we're going yet, so I'll go ahead and share that. We are moving to my favorite city in the world. We're going back to Seattle. This time, for good. I mean, I don't know, not necessarily forever. I don't know what the future holds, but this is gonna be at least for the next few years, this is where we're planning on being. So, a little backstory, some of you might remember that I actually used to live in Seattle. I lived there for a year and 3 months back in 2018, 2019, and I absolutely loved it. I definitely had kind of a hard time, and we'll get more into that in a second, but I did live there. It was the first place that I moved completely on my own after college, and I loved everything about the city. It's my place. And I actually moved there only knowing a couple of friends, and then I started dating my boyfriend who actually still lived here in Georgia. Going in with my Urban Decay Stay Naked concealer on the under eyes. Actually, first just going to apply some of that and then kind of let it sit there for a second. And then I'm going to use my Project Pan liquid blush. This is the Clove and Hallow Hydratint. So when I lived in Seattle, my boyfriend and I started dating. We actually started out long distance. He was living here, and where we live now is where we went to college. This is our college town. And he was still living here. I was living in Seattle, and I decided to move back here to be closer to him. He had actually visited me while I lived in Seattle a few times, and he actually loved it there, so much so that he actually suggested that he move out there to be closer to me. But since we'd only been dating for a month at the time, maybe a month or two, we'd known each other for a long time, but we hadn't been dating that long. So it just felt kind of a little too soon for me to be yes, come live closer to me, when, we hadn't even been together that long. And I felt like it made more sense for me to come back here, because this is where I'm from, I'm familiar with this area, this is where my family lives, so I moved back here end of 2019, and, we also knew, both of us were on the same page about, not wanting to stay in Georgia for forever. This was kind of just a temporary landing place for us, and then the pandemic hit a few months later after I moved back, so we were okay, it's good to just be here. Basically, since then, we've also been talking about where we would want to go next. And we've thought about a few different places, but honestly, I have missed Seattle so much since I moved back here. I love that city so much, and at the time that I lived there, I definitely had kind of a hard time making friends, just because I worked from home, and it is kind of tricky to make new friends in a new city as an adult. So even though I loved living there, I was also I was in just a weird place in my life. I think how old was I? I guess I was 23 and 24 when I lived there. And I feel you change a lot between your early 20s and your mid to late 20s, which I am 27 now, right? Yeah. It's gotten to the point where I don't even remember how old I am anymore. When someone asks me my age, I'm wait a minute, okay. 27. So anyway, when I lived there, I was kind of like, just like, what am I doing with my life? What do I want to do with my life? Do I want to go to grad school? No. What do I want to do for a job? Like I had the job that I was in, but I knew I didn't want to stay in that. So anyway, I was just going through a lot of kind of like personal reflection at the time, not really knowing like where I wanted to be, whatever. That was my Becca liquid highlight, by the way. Anyway, came back here, kind of just hung out here, kept working the same job. And, you know, we were kind of thinking about where we wanted to go next. We thought about Atlanta for a little while. We've both lived either in or near Atlanta like almost our entire lives. And that was like a very early on thought that we both eventually were like, no, I don't think that's really where we want to be. And I think we both kind of decided that we did not want to stay in the South. We both really do not like the weather here. The heat is just, it really weighs on you after a while. We both really just prefer cooler, more temperate climates. So anyway, eventually we both kind of came to the realization, like, why don't we just move back to Seattle? We both love it there. We both love the weather there. We love just the culture there. We love how open-minded people are there. We're both city people. Like, we both prefer living in bigger cities. We love that, you know, in bigger cities, there's so many more opportunities for our careers. And it's been a while, actually, since we decided we were going to move back to Seattle. It was kind of just a matter of when. It just kind of worked out with Nathan's job that it made sense for us to move in the summer. So, we're going. We're going back. We're going back at the end of June, so in about a month. We're heading that way, and I actually just got home from apartment hunting. I was there all last week looking at apartments. We just got an apartment. We just put down the security deposit, like we're in, and we love our apartment so much. It's so perfect. The location is perfect. It's the perfect size for us. We're, of course, taking our 3 cats with us. I set my under eyes with the CoverGirl Clean Fresh. Now I'm going to go in with my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Diffused Light to just kind of lightly finish off the rest of my face. So that's the big news. That's where we're moving. I'm just so excited to be back. I mean, let me talk a little bit more about my love for Seattle for a second. I've been thinking about, you know, people who like city living like we do. I feel like everybody kind of has like their perfect city. Like some people love New York. Some people love Chicago. Some people love Atlanta. Like we love Seattle. There's something to me so invigorating about that city. I feel the most like myself and the most alive when I'm there. I feel like that sounds so cheesy, but there's just something about it, like the air is fresher. I love how green it is. There's some cities that there's not a whole lot of green and nature, but Seattle is it's almost like nature is a part of the city. You have absolutely beautiful views of the mountains, like everywhere you go. You'll just be driving to Kroger, or they don't have Kroger there. You'll just be driving to Fred Meyer and suddenly like you just see the most beautiful mountain view in the distance, and it takes your breath away. Most cities are not that beautiful. I love how much there is to do there. I love how easy it is to get around. Like I said, I'm from the Atlanta, like metro Atlanta area. Seattle traffic is nothing compared to Atlanta traffic. It cracks me up when I hear Seattle people talking about how bad the traffic is, because I'm like, you have no idea. The other thing about Seattle that Nathan and I have been talking about a lot lately is we both almost feel like we have a spiritual connection to Seattle, even though we don't have any immediate family there or anything. Like, ever since I was a kid, I was fascinated by the Pacific Northwest, and so has he. And we didn't know each other as kids, but both of us have always had this kind of like draw and gravitation towards the Pacific Northwest. And it's funny, my mom has been doing a lot of ancestry research, mapping out her whole family tree and trying to get in touch with like distant relatives and stuff. And I believe it was her great-grandfather, my great-great-grandfather, was a stowaway on a ship that came over from, oh gosh, I guess it was England back in the 1800s. And his family actually moved to Seattle. And then I think for a time they also lived in Tacoma. And I didn't even know that until recently, but it's so interesting that I do have this kind of ancestral connection to that area. And I don't know if that's part of why, like, I just deep down in my soul, I just feel this attraction to Seattle. But the other thing that we've talked about is that it's a good thing we came back here, because we wouldn't have adopted our cat Bee if we hadn't come here. And we just feel like she was meant to be a part of our family. So we came here, we got Bee, we had some quality time back in our homeland, and now we're going back. And I'm just so excited. So that's the big news. I want to talk more about all of our plans to get over there and stuff, but I am going to start out the eye look with this new Urban Decay Naked Sin. I have not even touched this. I'm really loving this color story. This is right up my alley. I'm gonna start out with the shade, it's called Boring. That's so funny that they would name their own shade Boring. I guess they're leaning into the criticism that Urban Decay sometimes gets for continuing on with their Naked series. That's kind of funny to me. But it seems like these mini palettes are all, there's 3 of them. There's Half Baked, Sin, and Foxy, so they're all based on one of their most popular OG shades, this one being Sin. And so it does have the shade Sin in it. But I'm gonna start out with that Boring shade in my crease, of course. Ooh. That is my kind of transition shade. I love a good rosy beige for the transition. It may be boring, but it is definitely a useful shade. So as far as our plans to get over there, we're so excited to be leaving in the summer. Seattle summers are glorious. I mean, they're so beautiful. So I'm excited that we're gonna be arriving in the summer when the weather is just perfection. And we're leaving Georgia when the weather is at its worst. I'm gonna take a little bit of Twisted now. That's the deepest shade. This palette, as you can see, doesn't go very deep. I mean, that is the deepest shade, which kind of like a medium to deep brown. It's not even that deep. I don't mind. I like doing pretty light, simple eye looks. I don't like going too deep on my eyes, so I like that. But, you know, just be aware there's not a whole lot of depth to this palette. I'm just gonna kind of focus that in my outer corner. So anyway, we just feel really lucky to be making this happen at this time of year. Like, it's just good timing. As far as logistics, like, here's our plan. We are planning on essentially just selling all of our furniture. At first, we were planning on either getting movers or a U-Haul and having all of our stuff transported over there, but we kind of had the realization that it would cost more to do that than it would to just sell all our stuff and buy new stuff. None of our furniture is really worth that much. Pretty much all of our furniture we got secondhand for very cheap. So it would just be silly to pay thousands of dollars, because movers and even U-Hauls for a cross-country move are extremely expensive. So we're just gonna sell everything and buy new furniture when we get there. So that's what the next month is gonna be, is just kind of getting all of our stuff sold. I actually have a friend who's buying a lot of our furniture from us, so that'll be really nice. We're driving there, and then we're gonna fly back to fly the cats there, because we don't want to drive the cats for 3 days in the car. That just seems, I just don't want to put the cats through that. So instead it'll just be one flight and then it's over with. So I think that's just the least stressful possible way to do it with the cats. Let's see, I'm gonna take some of TBH and apply that to like the center of my lid. We're gonna fit as much as we can in our car that we're driving there, and then anything that we do want there, we're gonna ship in the mail. All right, I'm gonna take the shade Unlucky now, this kind of pearlescent champagne-y beige, and that's gonna go in my inner third of the lid. So we are just so excited. We feel like we got really lucky with the apartment that we got. It's such a relief to have that. I mean, I was stressing last week while I was there, just because the rental market in Seattle this time of year, we picked the worst time of year to move, but again, this is the timing that worked out with his job and everything. I was just getting nervous. We actually applied to 3 different places, which I wasn't expecting to have to do, but just to be safe, like there were just other people that had applied to some of them before we did, so, you know, we just wanted to be on the safe side, but we ended up getting really our first choice, which we're so lucky. I'm so thankful for that. I'm just taking a little bit of Boring again on my lower lash line. this palette is cute. I don't feel like these shades are anything that spectacular. Kind of standard Urban Decay Naked palette quality. I never am blown away. I do feel like the shimmers are a little bit hard. I prefer a slightly creamier shimmer. Even in a powder formula, I like when they have a little bit of a creaminess to them. So far, they're a little bit, I mean, they're pretty, but they're underwhelming. Like, I feel like I could have gotten a very similar look with like my Profusion Mauves palette, but I don't mind the look either. But anyway, get this. The apartment that we ended up getting is in the same building that I used to live in. The building, I loved this building so much. Again, the location was amazing. It was within our budget, and I actually saw the listing for this place the Friday before I was gonna fly out there to go look at apartments. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, like this would be perfect. This is, like, I already know I love the building. I don't even need to see it. Like, we would be comfortable signing the lease sight unseen right now. And then I could cancel my trip because I don't even need to go. So we applied right away. We didn't obviously hear back from them until the following week when I was already out there. So I still went out there. I still toured a bunch of places. We actually didn't hear back that we had gotten the place until Friday, and I was leaving Saturday. So on Friday, we'd already applied to that place and two other places that I had seen. And at this point, we're just kind of in this waiting period. It takes a few days for places to process your applications, and then again, if someone has applied before you, they're gonna get first dibs, obviously. So we were just waiting, and I'm getting nervous because it's Friday, I'm leaving the next day, and I really wanted to have a place like nailed down and secured before I left. We were not expecting to get this apartment in the building that I used to live in because they had told us that there were a few applicants ahead of us. So I was like, okay, we're not getting it. Like, just let's not have our hopes up. So all week I'm like, okay, you know, let's find a different place. And then on Thursday we heard from them and they said that the previous applicants decided not to move forward. We're going to start processing your application now. And I was like, oh my God, like I was freaking out. I still was trying not to get my hopes up because you never know, like you just never know. I just wanted to wait until we were for sure getting it before I got excited. And then on Friday we got the email that we had been approved, and the relief I felt in that moment was just unreal. So this apartment was not only our first choice, but it's also just surreal. It feels like a full circle moment because, you know, that's the apartment Nathan had visited me when I lived there a few times, and he also loved it, and it was just bittersweet to leave. And it sort of feels like now we are going back and kind of picking up where we left off almost. And it just feels so good. It feels like we just got so lucky, like it was meant to be, and I'm just so grateful and excited, and just I'm excited to be there with Nathan too, because obviously I love the city so much. He loves what he's seen of it so far, and I'm just excited for us to both be there together and to be able to experience it together and almost like, I don't know, like start fresh there. Yeah, that's the big news. I feel like it's gonna be, I just have a really good feeling about this. I just feel like it's going to be really good for us. So that's the news. I've just been so excited to actually sit down and share this with you guys because, like I said, I just wasn't quite ready to talk about it until I knew that we had a place secured, and now we do, and I'm excited. With this move coming up, I actually do want to film moving vlogs. I love watching moving vlogs so much. I don't know why, they're like one of my favorite types of videos to watch on YouTube. Taylor Wynn's moving vlogs are my favorite, and she's recently been kind of like traveling, doing like a solo travel, living in different cities for like a month at a time, and it's been really fun to follow along with that. So I'm kind of inspired by her to film a moving vlog series. I want to film our road trip, I want to film the whole process, just to kind of show like what a cross-country move looks like when you're doing it the way that we are. That was the Charlotte Tilbury push-up lashes on the top lashes, and then I also put some of that Pacifica brow gel in my brows. So now I'm going to apply the Bite lip crayon in Stinger. Man, I like how sharp that point is. I can practically use it as a lip liner. I know it won't always be that sharp, but it does have a little sharpener on the end, so that's cool. So, moving vlogs are coming. I also did, while I was there apartment hunting, I filmed a little tour of 3 different apartments that I saw 2 of which we actually applied for that we're not going to be living in, and 1 that we're not going to live in. But I thought it would be fun to do a little Seattle apartment hunting video where I show like 3 examples of what you can get there. So that is coming. I think I was debating between posting it on this channel and on my second channel. I think I'm just going to post it on this channel. Okay, there is Bite Stinger. I like that color. This does remind me a lot of the Physicians Formula Healthy Lip in Tulip treatment. It's just a little bit lighter, which I actually really like. What a fun spring and summer color. I think I'm gonna get a lot of use out of that this season. So I kind of want to cover up a little bit of this. I feel like this mauvey pink in the center of my lid is like a little too mauve for this look. I'm gonna take some more of Unlucky and kind of just tap that all over, just to kind of tone down the cool mauviness of that. I also want to take a little bit of the shade Bad Habit here, which is like a very frosty kind of white color. I'm going to put that in my inner corner just to brighten. I do like a white in the inner corner. I think it's a good brightening shade. I'm not quite sure if I like the way this lip goes with this eye look. I think the eye look might be a teeny bit too mauvey, but that's okay. Yeah, so far, I mean, just first impressions on this palette, it's okay. Like, I do think I'll get a lot of use out of these colors, and I do really like the packaging. I think this packaging is really cute. I feel like they always nail their packaging, but the quality of the shadows, it's pretty typical for Urban Decay Naked shadows. They're just kind of fine. Like, they're just fine. So I'll keep playing with it. I'll obviously come back with updated thoughts on this in a future video, but those are my first impressions. With all that being said, I do like the look I got, but it's very simple. Anyway, to wrap all of this up, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to take you guys along with us on this journey and look forward to those moving vlogs. I think they're gonna start coming pretty soon because it's about time to start packing up, getting rid of stuff. So really excited for that. Let me know if there's any specific moving content that you'd be interested in. Pretty much planning on documenting the whole thing. Oh, as far as my upload schedule for this next month, I'm not gonna have set days that I'm posting. For a while there I was doing Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, then I changed it to Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Now it's just gonna be 3 to 4 videos a week. I'm gonna try to stick to that Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday because I do like those days for uploading, but if the days are shuffled around, I'm still gonna get out the same number of videos each week. It's just maybe not gonna be those exact days just because things are gonna be a little hectic around here, but just wanted to let you know about that little channel update. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching my videos and supporting me and being interested in my life. For those of you who made it all the way to the end of this video, I really appreciate you. And I think that's about it for this video. Stay tuned for exciting content coming up. I'll also have regular content going up as well, so not going to be completely changing my channel or anything, but I'm just excited. I don't even know how to end this video. But that's all for today. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you very soon in my next video. Bye.